Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Devarada Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Devarada Yasodanandana Bhajadana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhajadana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari. This morning we will be reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 15. The Pandavas retire timely, text 14. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Narom Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Nasta Preshya Bhatreso Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistite. Yat Bandava Kopalabdi Manantaparam Eko Ratena Tatare Amatirya Sattvam Pratyaritam Bodhanam Samaya Parishvam Teyas Padam Manimayam Saritam Shirobhya Yam Bandavako Balabdi Manantaraparam Eko Ratena Tatare Hamatirya Sattvam Pratyaritam Baudanam Samaya Parisham Teyaspadam Animayam Saritam Sirobhya Yad Bandava Kola Bala Dimananta Param Eko Ratena Tatare Amaterya Sattvam Pratyaritam Baudanam Samaya Parisham Teyaspadam Animayam Saritam Sirobhya Yad Bandava Kobalabdi Mananya Param Eko Ratena Tatare Amaterya Sattvam Pratyaritam Baudanam Samaya Parisham Teyaspadam Animayam Saritam Sirobhya Yad Bandava Kobalabdi Mananta Param Eko Ratena Tatare Amaterya Sattvam Pratyaritam Baudanam Samaya Parisham Tayaspadam Animayam Saritam Sirobhya. Okay, then we go word for word translation. Yad Bandava, by whose friendship only Gobala Abdim, in the ocean of military strength of the coast, Anantaparam, which was insurmountable, Eka, alone, Ratena, being seated on the chariot, Tatare, was able to cross over, Aham, myself, Atirya, invincible, Sattvam, existence, Pratyaritam, drew back, Bahu, very large quantity, Dhanam, wealth, Cha, also, Maya, by me, Parisam, of the enemy, Dea Aspatam, source of brilliance, Manimayam, bedecked with jewels, Cha, also, Ritam, taken by force, Cherobia, from their heads. Translation and purport by Abhay Charnavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The military strength of the Kauravas was like an ocean in which there dwelt many invincible existences, and thus it was insurmountable. But because of his friendship, I, seated on the chariot, was able to cross over it, and only by his grace was I able to regain the cows and also collect by force many of the king's helmets which were bedecked with jewels that were sources of brilliance. Purport. On the Kauvra side, there were many stalwart commanders like Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, and Karna, and their military strength was as insurmountable as the great ocean. And yet it was due to Lord Krishna's grace that Arjuna alone, sitting on the chariot, could manage to vanquish them one after another without difficulty. There were many changes of commanders on the other side, but on the Pandava side, Arjuna alone on the chariot driven by Lord Krishna could manage the whole responsibility of the great war. Similarly, when the Pandavas were living at the place of Virata incognito, the Kauravas picked a quarrel with King Virata and decided to take away his large number of cows. While they were taking away the cows, Arjuna fought with them incognito and was able to regain the cows along with some booty taken by force, the jewels set on the turbans of the royal order. Arjuna remembered that all this was possible only by the grace of the Lord. Read the verse again. Yad bandava kola balapti manantaparam eko ratena tatareya materia sattvam pratyaritam baudanam samaya paresham deyaspadam manimayam saritam sirobhya. The military strength of the Kauravas was like an ocean in which there dwelt many invincible existences, and thus it was insurmountable. But because of his friendship, I, seated on the chariot, was able to cross over it, and only by his grace was I able to regain the cows and also collect by force many of the king's helmets, which were bedecked with jewels that were sources of all brilliance. Saksurunmetam yena tasmai sigo venama chitanya manobistam staptam yena bhutalisvam rupakadamyam dadati sva padantikam. Vandeham shigo shiyuda padkalamam kamalam shigum vaishnavam sa Sirupam Sagajatam Sagan Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parjana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shiv Shakam Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sinudi Dino Bandhu Chatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastati Tapta Kanchana Kaurangi Radhi Vrindavaneshwar Vishabhuna Sutta Devi Pranamama Hari Priye Panka Kautra Vishakripa Sinabhivasha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Nama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskataya Desatarane Srila Prabhupada ki. So Arjuna is remembering a fight he had at the end of the 14th year of exile. Last year they had to be incognito in exile, and the Pandavas, they were serving as servants of King Virat, but incognito. That because Arjuna, his name was Brinala, he was a teacher, a dance teacher of the princesses. So Arjuna was also a good dancer. Of course, that has to do with a curse. That's another thing. But like mentioned here in the purport, at a certain moment, the Kurus decided to take away most of the cows of King Virat. And the prince was, his name was Bhuminjaya. He was sent out to fight with the Kurus, and they appointed Brinala, Arjun, as his chariot driver. So I will read a part of that part of the Mahabharata where Arjun is going to fight, but so is the chariot driver of this prince. So he's on the chariot and he's driving the cart, is driving the horses. So they said Arjun urged on the horses, and the chariot moved off with a deep rumbling sound. Guided by Arjun, the horses decorated with gold necklaces and silver armor seemed to fly through the air. Within a short time, the chariot came within the sight of the Kurus, and Arjun brought it to a halt. They were not far from the cremation ground where the weapons were kept. So in the beginning of the first year of residing at the kingdom of Virat, incognito, they all put their arms, and especially Arjuna's Gandiva bow, into a tree at the cremation ground. But it was a kind of camouflage, nobody could see it. But that's mentioned here, they were not far from the cremation ground where the weapons were kept. The prince and Arjun gazed at the Kuru army in the distance. It seemed like a vast ocean or a forest of high trees moving through the sky. The dust raised by the army rose up in a great cloud, and that screened the sun. So it's like mentioned in this verse, it was the Kaurava army was insurmountable. So the name of this prince of the son of Virat was Bhuminjaya. And Bhuminjaya, before to the latest, he had said, "Don't worry, I will solve that problem. I will get rid of this cows and bring the cows back." But then when Bhuminjaya saw this big force, all these warriors, that means Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Dronacharya, Bhuminjaya's mouth fell open. He had never seen such a huge army. His hair stood on end, and he dropped his bow. "How can I fight such an enemy?" he exclaimed, trembling. Even the celestial could not face them. The Kuru army has in their midst heroes like Drona, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashvatham, and the heroic king Duryodhana. Simply seeing them from a distance, I become terrified. Wailing loudly, the prince ordered Arjun to return to the city. "It is not wise to confront this army. My father has gone out with the army and I'm alone. I've not practiced the skills of warfare. I'm only a boy. I cannot overcome those who are expert in arms. So Brinala, head back to the capital. Yes, of course. Arjun turned to face the terrified prince. Why do you increase your enemy's delight, O prince? You have become pale with fear before you even begun to fight. Before both men and women, you loudly vaunted your powers. You said, I shall defeat the Kurus and bring back the cows. Those were brave words, O mighty armed Arjun. How can you now return unsuccessful? You will be derided by everyone. As for myself, eulogized by Sairindra, and commanded by you, I've come here to defeat the Kurus. I will not return without achieving that goal. Stop wailing and let us proceed into the battle. Bhuminjaya stood shaking in the chariot. Let the Kurus take our wealth as they please. Let men and women laugh at me. Let the cows go anywhere. Let the city be desolate. Let me fear my father. I cannot enter the battle. So the prince jumped down from his chariot and began to run back toward the city. Arjuna called out to him, "O brave Kshatriya, a brave Kshatriya never flees the battlefield. Better to die in battle than to run in fear." So, sorry. Bhuminjaya did not listen. With his long sword swinging from side to side as he ran, he did not even look back. Arjuna sprang from the chariot and ran after him. Having seen the chariots approach, the Kurus had moved toward them. They saw the prince running in fear and as an unusual fear pursuing him. His long braid and with silks streaming in the breeze. The Kuru soldiers laughed and said to one another, "Who is this person who appears to be a eunuch? He is fire concealed by ashes. Although assuming the form of a neuter, he has the body of an elephant. Indeed, he resembles Arjun with the same head, the same neck, and the same mace-like arms. His movements also resemble those of the Pandava." The Kurus gazed at Brinala as he raced after the prince. Clearly, he was no eunuch. Surely it was Arjun in disguise. Who else would have dared to face the Kuru army alone? Obviously, the Matsya prince had ventured to fight simply out of childishness. It seemed that Arjun was trying to stop him from fleeing. Thus, the Kuru warriors watched the scene, not quite certain if they were seeing Arjun or not. Catching Bhuminjaya, Arjuna seized him. The prince cried out, "Let me go! O Brinala, turn back the chariot. Only one who lives can secure prosperity and happiness. When we get back, I will give you 100 coins of pure gold, 8 brilliant Vaidurya gems, an excellent car drawn by the best horses, and 10 infuriated elephants if you release me." Arjun said nothing. He dragged the prince back to the chariot. He then said, "O repressor of foes, if you do not like to fight, let us swap places. You govern the horses, and I will fight the enemy. Protected by my arms, you may fearlessly enter into the midst of the dreadful Kuru host. Why are you distraught, O hero? You are the foremost of Kshatriyas and a great prince. Together we will overpower the Kurus and release the cows. Take the reins and we will proceed into battle." Bhuminjaya was still terrified, but he became encouraged by Arjun's confidence. He sat on the chariot and took the reins. Arjuna directed him to guide the chariot toward a sami tree by the crematorium. Before facing the Kurus, he wanted to retrieve his Gandiva bow. As the chariot moved up with Arjun now in the back, the Kurus spoke together. All of them suspected that the so-called eunuch was actually Arjuna. Within the hearing of Duryodhana, Bhishma, and Karna, Drona said, I perceive numerous ill omens. Violent winds are whipping up around us, throwing dust and gravel over our troops. The sky is crowded with darkness, and huge black clouds are forming overhead. Our celestial weapons seem to be jumping from their cases, and our horses are shedding tears. Jackals are yelling hideously nearby. All these signs indicate a calamity. Protect yourself and arrange the army well. Expect a great slaughter and guard well the cows. This great bowman in the guise of a eunuch is undoubtedly Partha, a heroic man. Surely this man dressed as a woman is Kiriti, whose chariot bears the emblem of Hanuman, the destroyer of Lanka's gardens. Indignant after his long stay in the forest, he will today wreak havoc in battle. I do not see anyone here who can stop him from feeding us and taking the cows. As Drona spoke, Karma became angry. Why do you always make light of us and praise Arjuna? He's not even a 16th part of either myself or Duryodhana. But Duryodhana was smiling. If this is Partha or Adeya, then my work is done. We have discovered the Pandavas before their final year is complete. Now they will have to return to the forest. If this is anyone else in a eunuch's guise, I shall soon lay him flat on the ground with my sharp arrows. Arjuna's chariot soon reached the Sami tree, out of sight of the course. Arjuna said, climb this tree, O prince, and bring down that bundle up there. I hold the weapons I need. Your bow and arrows will not withstand the force of my arms when worked up with anger. I defeat our enemies. Here are the Pandavas' weapons, including the Gandiva bow, as huge as a palm tree and embellished with gold. It is a celestial bow without blemish, and it is capable of bearing the heavens' weight. Bhuminjaya looked up at the bundle high in the tree. It is heard that the corpse is tied to this tree. How can I, a prince, touch such an unclean thing? Do not be afraid, O prince. This is no corpse. There are only weapons wrapped in that bundle. Bring them down at once. I would not make you perform a curse indeed, born as you are of a noble race and heir to the Matsya king. Bhuminjaya reluctantly climbed the tree. He cut the bundle loose with his sword and brought it down to the ground. Struggling under its huge weight, Arjuna told him to open the bundle, and the prince cut away the deerskin covering. As the weapons were revealed, they shone like the sun. Bhuminjaya gasped. The blazing weapons resembled shining serpents. The prince was awestruck. He reached out to touch them and asked, to what illustrious hero does this bow with its 100 golden embellishments belong? And whose is this one, embossed with shining golden elephants? Surely some powerful warrior owned this bow, decorated with 3 effulgent suns. Bhuminjaya carefully lifted the brilliant weapons. Arjuna's 2 inexhaustible quivers lay next to Nakula and Sahadev's swords, with their hilts worked with gold. Both swords were seated in tiger skins. Arjuna explained who owned the weapons. That's an old explanation. We will continue a little further. Arjuna then revealed to the prince's identity and that of all his brothers. The prince looked at him in astonishment. He had never suspected it, but now it seems obvious. The might Vallabha could well be Bhima, and Kanka always had a certain nobility and bearing which outshone the other courtiers. Surely it could be Yudhishthir, but the prince still needed to be convinced. He asked Arjun, I shall believe your words if you can tell me Arjun's 10 names, which I have heard before. Arjun replied, because I conquered many countries and collected their wealth, I am called Dhananjaya. Anyway, we continue a little further. That then we will go into the battle. Okay. Arjun blew his conch and twanged his bow once more. The combined sound filled the 4 quarters and seemed to rend the mountains. The prince kept his position with difficulty and controlled the terrified steeds. In the distance, Drona heard the terrible sounds Arjun was making. He turned to Duryodhana. There is no doubt that Savyasachin has come to fight with us. Even more dreadful omens are now visible, portending a calamity for the Kurus. Your army seems cheerless, and if they are weeping, all our leading warriors stand motionless, bereft of energy. A pall of gloom seems to hang over our forces. Let us make ready for the battle. When Partha appears, you will have cause to repent your actions. We see 2 things here, that Krishna is empowering Arjuna, but all these bad omens appear, and the other party feels discouraged. That's Krishna does these 2 things at the same time too. So Duryodhana scowled. He went over to Bhishma and said, "O grandfather, it seems that we have found the Pandavas before their exile is complete. The condition was that they should return to exile if found in their final year. If this is indeed Bibatsu, then they will have to spend another 12 years in the forest. You should carefully calculate the time, O Bhishma, so that there is no doubt." Duryodhana looked around. In the distance, he saw the dust rising from Arjun's chariot. The Kaurava held his bow firmly. However, whoever it is coming towards us, be it Arjun or the Matsya king, we will have to fight today. Why then are our leading men sitting panic-stricken on their chariots? We are many, and here comes but a single warrior. Our preceptor's talks of omens and calamities is unbecoming. Our agreement with Susharma was that we would support him in the battle against Virata. We must now keep our promise, O Bhishma, and arrange our troops for battle. I fear that Drona is overpowered by his affection for the enemy. How can he guide or protect us in such an hour of danger? And then I skip a few. So Arjuna's chariot has stopped some way off. The Kuru army arrayed itself in a pointed formation facing its direction. At the head of the army, Kripa continued to speak astonishing Karna, who stood fumingly on his chariot, his great bow held at ready. Go a little further. Bhishma looked across Arjun's chariot and said, Drona's son has spoken well, as has Kripa. Karma speaks his boast only to incite us to perform Kshatriya duties. No wise man would find fault with his preceptor. In my view, we must fight. We should not be bewildered when faced with an adversary as powerful as effulgence as the sun. Anyway, it continues like that, but Arjun then with his Gandiva bow, he shoots 2 arrows, and they're just in the air, and they fall just before Bhishmadev and Dronacharya, like he's offering obeisance to them. But Arjun alone with his Gandiva bow, he defeats all the warriors and gets the cows and some wealth. That so this is in the Mahabharata. So it's nice also to read the Mahabharata, because Bhagavad Gita is a part of the Mahabharata. And to understand the Bhagavatam and the entire context, it's good to know the Mahabharata also. Because Arjuna is speaking here. It is said where the 12 years of exile, were they over or not, that Duryodhana was doubting, but then Bhishmadev calculated and it was over. It's just the last day or the first day after or something. That's interesting. But it shows how Krishna empowered Arjuna to the extreme. So one warrior is going to defeat the entire army. It's incredible that, and this is Krishna. He can empower his devotee till the unlimited practically. And he was remembering that, Arjuna. And by remembering that, he got strength. He came out of his depression. So that's important for us. If we are disconnected with Krishna, we become powerless. If we become connected with Krishna, we become empowered, as long as our inner motive is correct. That we must want to do our service just for the pleasure of the spiritual master or for the pleasure of Krishna, and not anything for ourselves. Then it goes wrong. We think ourselves, our body, factually, our false ego. If your false ego becomes between, then we don't have the empowerment. So this is what Srila Prabhupada calls purity is a force. Purity in our desire. It's so important. This Pandavas went in exile to so many difficulties. But finally, that's in the Bhagavad Gita, wherever there is Arjuna and Krishna, there will be victory. But what is victory? Not external victory. Is internal victory. It's Arjuna may be a great warrior, but in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells him that really, he called him Bahomao, great strong arms, that an invincible warrior. But it says to Arjuna, you will really be a hero when you can control your mind. And that's the internal battle we have to fear, to fight. And Krishna empowers us to fight this internal battle and come to the point of controlling our mind, our senses, and use them in Krishna's service. And it's like Arjun was driving the chariot here. We have to control the horses and especially control the mind. That there is that picture of all the senses, the 5 senses and the 5 horses. That and you need to control them. But a devotee will be successful in this battle if we keep this faith in Krishna and follow the instructions of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. And many in the past have become empowered by Krishna. In many ways, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentioned Janak Maharaj. He became perfect by performing his duties, an extraordinary empowerment also. So Krishna empowered so many, and many are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as vibhutis. That he mentions, on the sages, I'm Narada Muni. That among the devotees, I'm Prahlad. And that there are so many who were empowered by Krishna. We can also become empowered by Krishna. Because without his empowerment, we cannot do anything. So that's important. How do we get empowered by Krishna? It's by this purity in desire. That makes us a pure devotee, even with an impure heart. A devotee with an impure heart. It seems a contradiction. But there are 2 kinds of pure devotees. There are those who are pure in heart, who have come to the platform of Nishta, Anartha-Nivritti is finished. But Prabhupada mentioned another kind of pure devotee. If someone asked Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there in ISKCON? If I asked his secretary, how many devotees are there in ISKCON? Because at that time, all the devotees, they were surrendered to Prabhupada. Certainly at that time, mid-70s. And that's because that's mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. A definition of a pure devotee. One who uses consciously its body, mind, word, and all convictions in the service of Krishna is imperceptibly liberated. Will soon become liberated. Is all considered a pure devotee. Because they are pure in desire, nothing for ourselves. And this is a hard, so many times it's a hard way to learn this surrender. That we are also surrendered to all our own plans. Even in ISKCON, I want to make career. I will become this and that and that. But we are not this. We are all servants of Krishna. We are equal in that sense, all. We are all in the same boat in this material world. We are all prisoners in the hands of Maya, the illusory energy. And some may be a 1st-class prisoner and someone a 10th-class prisoner, but we are all prisoners. But to get out of the prison, we need this purity. And Krishna reciprocates with this purity. And and when you read Mahabharata, you find all the Pandavas empowered throughout their whole pastime of exile. Mother Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas, prays to Krishna, saying, "You have always protected us against being burnt in the house of Shalak. You have protected us against poison in the poisoned cake." Bhima, that again, you have protected us against man-eaters. That so many times. That so this is Krishna's reciprocation with his devotees. Very beautiful, but it depends on our purity in heart. Thank you very much. Any comments, questions? Good. Thank you very much. Shantaya Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai.